Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we are focusing our lens on a figure who represents perhaps the single most confusing data set in modern Hollywood history.
That's a good way to put it. A confusing data set.
You know him. You almost certainly have an impression of him. He's the guy, yelling at the golf ball.
Right. Go to your home.
He is the guy walking out of a five-star hotel in basketball shorts that look like they were sized for, I don't know, a giant.
Is a very specific, very loud aesthetic.
It is. We are talking about Adam Sandler, but here's the mission for this deep dive. We're not just going to quote lines from Billy Madison.
Although we probably will.
We probably will. But we're here to unpack a genuine paradox. We're looking at a man who has generated over $2 billion in global box office revenue, yet simultaneously holds the record for some of the most vicious critical reviews ever written.
It's a fascinating disconnect. I mean, if you look at the raw data, and we have a massive stack of sources here, everything from box office receipts to decades of film criticism and financial disclosures, you see two completely different stories.
Two completely separate careers, almost.
Exactly. In one story, he's a hack, a symbol of the death of cinema, But in the other story, he is a savvy business mogul and, maybe most surprisingly, a critical darling of the high art crowd.
That's the part that always trips me up, the duality. On one hand, you have the Golden Raspberry Awards, the Razzies.
Oh, yeah.
They literally have a category that feels like it was invented just for him. He's been nominated for Worst Actor nearly a dozen times.
He actually set a record in 2012 with Jack and Jill, winning Worst Actor and Worst Actress in the same year.
Which is objectively hilarious. I mean, that's a kind of achievement in itself.
It really is.
But then you fast forward to 2023, he's standing at the Kennedy Center receiving the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor.
The highest honor.
I mean, that's the Nobel Prize of Comedy. He is standing where Richard Pryor stood, where George Carlin stood. How does that happen?
And that is the hook of this entire deep dive. How does one man straddle that canyon? How can you be the antithesis of Judd Apatow, as one critic called him, implying he's anti-art?
Wow.
And yet be the muse for Paul Thomas Anderson, one of the greatest living filmmakers.
Who is, like, the definition of high art cinema.
Totally. Anderson has gone on record saying he has an obsession-level love for Sandler's work.
It feels impossible. It's like finding out that a 3-star Michelin chef's favorite meal is a gas station hot dog.
Right.
But maybe that's on us. Maybe we've been looking at Sandler wrong this whole time.
That is exactly my read on the sources. We tend to view Sandler as this lucky glass clown who just, stumbled into a fortune.
Yeah, that he was just goofing around and fell backwards into $500 million.
But when you dig into the biography and the business moves, you find a highly trained, incredibly calculated operator.
Okay, let's start with that training. Because the origin story isn't just funny kid from Brooklyn.
No, it's much more academic than people realize. Adam Sandler was born in Brooklyn in 1966, but his family moved to Manchester, New Hampshire when he was 6.
So he's got those deep New England suburban roots.
For sure. His father, Stanley, was an electrical engineer. His mother, Judy, was a nursery school teacher. Very standard, supportive upbringing from what all the biographical data says.
But the spark, the comedy thing, that came pretty early.
It did. At age 17, his brother urged him to get on stage at a comedy club in Boston.
Just pushed him up there.
Pretty much. And he found he liked it, that he had a knack for it. But the pivotal moment comes when he decides to pursue it professionally. He didn't just hit the open mics and hope for the best.
Right. This is where it gets serious.
No, he went to school. And not just any school. He applied to and was accepted into the Tisch School of the Arts at New York University.
We need to pause and underscore that, because that's not what you'd expect. Tisch is serious business.
It is the Ivy League of acting. It is method acting. It's Stanislavski. It's Chekhov. I mean, when you go to Tisch, you are learning how to strip yourself down emotionally, how to use your physical instrument to convey truth. It's not a joke factory.
And he graduated, right, he has a degree.
Graduated in 1988 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
So, okay, let me get this straight. When we see him in Billy Madison making gibberish noises or doing that weird baby voice, that isn't just a guy goofing off. That is a choice made by a technically trained BFA-holding actor.
Exactly. It recontextualizes everything. It means he understands the rules of performance well enough to break them for comedic effect.
It's not an accident.
It's a deliberate choice.
Yeah.
And he was working hard right out of the gate. While he was at NYU, he landed a recurring role as Smitty on The Cosby Show.
Smitty, I remember him. He was Theo Huxtable's friend.
Right. And he played it straight. He was learning the rhythm of a multi-camera sitcom. He was on the set of the biggest show in the world, just absorbing it all.
He was also on that MTV game show, right? Remote Control.
The stud boy, yeah.
Yeah.
He was getting his reps in, doing anything and everything.
But the big break, the moment that actually changed the trajectory of American comedy, happened in a comedy club in Los Angeles.
This is the Dennis Miller connection.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so Dennis Miller was the anchor of Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live at the time. A huge deal. He just happened to catch Sandler's stand-up set.
And what was Sandler's act like back then?
Well, you have to remember, late 80s comedy was very observational. It was Jerry Seinfeld. It was, what's the deal with airline food?
Right, the setup punchline structure.
Sandler wasn't doing that at all. He was doing the guitar. He was doing characters. He was manic. He was musical. He was weird. It was a totally different energy.
So Miller sees this raw talent.
He sees this raw energy and immediately called Lorne Michaels.
Oh.
And the sources say he didn't just say, hey, check this kid out. He vouched for him. He put his own reputation on the line.
And getting a recommendation from the Weekend Update anchor to the creator of the show, that's the golden ticket.
It gets you in the room. Sandler was hired as a writer in 1990.
A writer, not a performer.
Not initially.
Yeah.
He had to earn his way onto the screen by writing sketches that made people laugh in the read-through. He had to prove his value in the writer's room first.
And that era of SNL, the early 90s, it's legendary now. The bad boys of SNL.
It was a very specific cultural moment. You had Sandler, Chris Farley, David Spade, Chris Rock, Rob Schneider. They created a vibe that was less about polished political satire and more about the chaotic energy of a college dorm room.
And it really connected with a younger audience.
Absolutely. But Sandler's specific contribution wasn't really sketches, was it? He found his own lane.
It was the update desk.
That was his stroke of genius. He realized he wasn't going to beat Phil Hartman at impressions.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to beat Mike Myers at complex character work. So he brought his stand-up act to the desk. He brought the guitar.
And the songs, the Thanksgiving song, the Chinishka song.
The Chinooka song is honestly a masterpiece of efficiency.
It really is. I mean, think about it. Before that song, Jewish kids in December had zero representation in popular culture. It was all Christmas carols all the time.
None. And Sandler comes on national television and just starts listing famous Jews in a simple, funny rhyme scheme.
Paul Newman's half Jewish. Goldie Hawn is too.
It was identity politics wrapped in a nursery rhyme. It was so simple and brilliant. It made him a star because it felt personal and authentic.
But despite the popularity, and they were very popular,
Oh, massively.
the suits at NBC weren't laughing.
No. This is where the business reality clashes with the creative. The ratings for the show were fluctuating, the budget was high, but more importantly, the executives felt the show had become unprofessional.
Unprofessional.
They thought the bad boys were too lowbrow. They didn't get the humor. There was this perception that they were just goofing off and breaking character all the time.
Which, to be fair, they were.
They were, but that was part of the charm. The audience loved it. The execs didn't.
So in 1995, we get the incident that defines his career. The firing.
The Purge. NBC fired Adam Sandler and Chris Farley.
It is still mind-blowing to me. You fire your two biggest breakout stars. In hindsight, it looks like financial suicide for the network.
It does now. But at the time, they wanted a clean slate. They wanted to professionalize the show again.
And Sandler has talked about this moment, right? He didn't quit.
Oh, no. He's been very clear about this, especially in interviews with Conan O'Brien. He didn't walk out in protest. His agent called him and said, they don't want you back.
Imagine the psychology of that.
Yeah.
You were in your mid-20s, you were one of the most famous comedians in the country, and you just got kicked out of the clubhouse.
That has to create a massive chip on your shoulder.
A boulder.
And that chip became his fuel. He later said that getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to him because it removed the safety net. He couldn't just stay on TV forever. He had to become a movie star.
And he had to do it his way to prove them wrong.
He had to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And you see that drive in what happens next. When he finally returned to host SNL in 2019, he did a whole song about it in his monologue.
Oh, I remember that.
I was fired. I was fired. He completely owned it. And then at the end, he did this incredibly moving tribute to Chris Farley. You can see how much that whole experience shaped him.
And boy, did he prove them wrong. This kicks off the golden era. From 1995 to 1998, The output is just staggering.
It's an incredible run. Billy Madison comes out in 95, almost immediately after he gets fired.
Then Happy Gilmore in 96.
The Wedding Singer in 98.
Mm.
The Waterboy, also in 98. It's just hit after hit after hit.
And these are the films that defined a generation. And they established the Sandler archetype that we need to unpack.
The man-child.
Yes. But it's
Yeah.
specific, right? It's not just an immature guy.
No, it's very specific. In Billy Madison, he is literally repeating grade school. In The Waterboy, he lives with his mama and talks like a toddler. In Happy Gilmore, he acts like a petulant teenager who can't control his temper.
But the key ingredient isn't just the immaturity, it's the rage.
The screaming, yes. The repressed rage. The comedy in these films almost always comes from the tension between his sweet, innocent, almost childlike demeanor.
And these sudden, violent, volcanic explosions of anger.
It's cathartic.
Why did that resonate so much in the late 90s? What was going on in the culture?
I think it tapped into a very specific male anxiety of that era. You had a generation of guys, Gen X guys, who felt a bit stunted, a bit awkward, maybe a bit angry at the world for reasons they couldn't articulate.
And Sandler gave that feeling a voice, a very loud, screaming voice.
He made it funny. He made the loser, the hero who could, beat up the smarmy villain.
Or Bob Barker.
And financially, it worked beyond anyone's wildest dreams. The Waterboy is the key statistic here again.
Yeah, that one really changed the game.
The Waterboy changed everything. It was released in 1998. It was a weird movie, a football comedy, where he talks with a lisp and tackles people with high-quality H2O.
Critics absolutely despised it. I remember the reviews, they were brutal.
Just shredded it. But it opened to massive numbers. It grossed nearly $190 million globally on a $23 million budget.
That is Marvel-level profit margins.
It made him a truly bankable star. It meant that he could open a movie on his name alone, regardless of the premise, regardless of the reviews.
The audience had chosen.
The audience had chosen. In fact, he actually had to drop out of a dark comedy called Very Bad Things because The Waterboy got so big, he needed to manage the fallout and the fame. He was officially A-list.
So he has the leverage, he has the money, and this is where he builds the empire, Happy Madison Productions.
Founded in 1999, named after the two movies that started it all, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison.
A great logo, too, that picture of his dad.
It is, and he's set up on the Sony Columbia lot in Culver City. And this is where the controversy, or at least the critical backlash, usually starts.
The nepotism argument. The idea that Happy Madison is just a scheme to pay his friends to go on vacation.
And if you look at the filmography grown-ups, just go with it. Blended. They're often set in resorts. Hawaii, Africa, Italy.
You're not wrong.
And he casts David Spade, Rob Schneider, Kevin James, Chris Rock. The same crew. Critics look at this and say, this is lazy. This is a scam. These are just whole movies.
But is it? Or is it genius?
Well, from a labor and business perspective, it is brilliant.
Explain that.
In Hollywood, most people are gig workers. You finish a movie, you are unemployed. You're always looking for the next job. Sandler created a repertory company.
A stable.
A stable. If you are a writer, a camera operator, a set designer, or an actor in his circle, you have job security. You have a pension. You have steady work.
It's like he created a union for his friends.
Exactly. And that breeds immense loyalty. He keeps the same crew for decades. That means productions are incredibly efficient because everyone knows the shorthand. There is no ego on set because everyone is part of the tribe.
So he prioritized loyalty over critical acclaim.
He prioritized autonomy. By keeping it in the family, he didn't have to listen to studio notes. He didn't have to audition new people. He could make the movies he wanted to make with the people he wanted to make them with.
And get paid a fortune to do it.
Yeah. And get paid a fortune.
But just as we had him boxed in as the lazy comedy guy, the guy making vacation movies, he does the thing that breaks the model, the pivot.
2002, Punch Drunk Love.
This is the moment where the Tisch graduate reemerges from the swamp of fart jokes.
It's the glitch in the Matrix. Paul Thomas Anderson, who had just made Magnolia and Boogie Nights, two of the most critically acclaimed films of the era.
Yeah, he was the new Scorsese.
He approaches Sandler. Now, usually serious directors avoid comic actors unless they want them to play the comic relief. Anderson wanted Sandler to be the romantic lead in a dark, strange art house film.
Why? What did Anderson see that other people were missing?
He saw the anger. Anderson has said in interviews that he loved Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
Yes. He said he would watch it over and over. He saw that beneath the jokes, there was a palpable sense of loneliness and rage in Sandler's eyes. He wrote the character of Barry Egan specifically for Sandler.
Barry Egan is such a fascinating character. He wears that one blue suit the whole movie. He collects pudding cups for airline miles.
And he has these terrifying, unpredictable outbursts. There is that scene where his sister is nagging him on the phone, and he just silently, efficiently shatters the sliding glass door with a hammer.
It's not funny. It's scary. It's real.
It's taking that man-child with rage persona from his comedies and stripping all the humor away, leaving only the pathology.
And Sandler was terrified to take the role.
He was. The story goes that he told Anderson, "I can't do this. I saw Magnolia. You're too good for me." He had imposter syndrome. He was afraid he couldn't measure up.
But Anderson saw something.
Anderson convinced him that he didn't need to act in the traditional sense. He just needed to be a stripped-down, vulnerable version of himself. He saw the potential that was always there.
The result was undeniable. Even Roger Ebert, who famously hated Sandler's comedies, I think he called one of them an act of vandalism against cinema.
He really did.
He completely flipped.
Ebert's review of Punch Drunk Love is essential reading for anyone trying to understand Sandler. He argued that the film deconstructed the Sandler persona.
What did he mean by that?
He said that Sandler had been wasted in bad scripts his whole career, and that this film revealed that the man-child was actually a tragic figure. He called it the key to all Adam Sandler films.
Wow.
He saw that Barry Egan was just Billy Madison without the jokes, a love-starved, lonely man with deep-seated anger issues.
It earned him a Golden Globe nomination. It proved he had the chops. But then he didn't stay there. He didn't become a serious actor full-time.
No, and that is what confuses people. He went right back to making Mr. Deeds and Click. He treated the art film like a side project, like a one-off.
But he kept dipping back in. It wasn't just a fluke.
Not at all. In 2007, he does Reign Over Me, where he played a man who lost his entire family in 9/11.
That was a heavy, heavy role, just pure grief.
And he was incredible in it. Then the Meyerowitz Stories in 2017 with Noah Baumbach.
Another indie darling director.
Exactly. It premiered at Cannes. Critics there were saying, with no shtick to fall back on, Sandler is forced to act, and it's a glorious thing to watch.
And then, the big one. The one that felt like a culmination of all of this. The Heart Attack in movie form. Uncut Gems in 2019.
Oh, man. Directed by the Safdie brothers, this movie is a stress test.
It's 2 hours of pure anxiety.
Sandler plays Howard Ratner, a jeweler in the Diamond District who is a gambling addict, and he is just making one bad decision after another.
It is the most anxious I have ever been in a movie theater. My shoulders were up by my ears the entire time.
The Safdie brothers did something brilliant. They took Sandler's natural charisma, that fast-talking, likable salesman energy,
Right.
and they weaponized it. They made it frantic and desperate.
You root for Howard even though he is an absolute train wreck.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
And it's widely considered his career best performance. The critical acclaim was universal.
He won the Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead.
He did, and he was famously snubbed by the Oscars, which actually created a huge wave of sympathy for him. People were outraged.
It solidified his status as a great actor who chooses not to act. It gave him this artistic credibility that money can't buy.
It proved that Punch Drunk Love wasn't a fluke. The talent was always there, waiting for the right director to pull it out.
And speaking of money, let's pivot to the business side again. Because around 2014, the industry changed, and Sandler was the canary in the coal mine.
This is the Netflix era. And to understand this, you have to look at the landscape in 2014. Streaming was still kind of finding its footing with original movies.
The prestige was still in the movie theater.
Right. If you're a big star, you wanted the red carpet premiere. You wanted the box office opening weekend numbers. That was the metric of success.
But Sandler's box office was starting to soften a little bit.
It was. Movies like That's My Boy and Blended weren't the massive hits his earlier films were. But Sandler looked at the other data. He saw that while his box office was softening, his DVD sales and his cable rerun numbers were astronomical.
People loved watching it at home.
Exactly. He realized his audience was aging. The frat guys who loved Billy Madison were now dads in their 30s and 40s.
They're tired.
They're tired. They don't want to hire a babysitter and pay $20 for popcorn. They wanted to sit on the couch and watch The Sandman.
So he saw where the puck was going.
He got there first. In 2014, he signed a 4-movie deal with Netflix. A massive deal.
And this was a huge gamble for Netflix at the time.
It's a huge gamble. And the first movie out of the gate was The Ridiculous Six.
Oh, boy. The Ridiculous Six.
A Western spoof. And we had to be honest here. Critically, it was a disaster.
Disaster is putting it mildly. It has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. 0. Not one positive review.
Critics called it unwatchable. They accused it of being racially insensitive. The narrative from the media was, Sandler is washed up. This Netflix thing is a failure.
But then the data came out.
And this is the Sandler paradox in its purest form. Netflix, who are usually very secretive with their numbers, released a statement.
What did it say?
They said that in its first 30 days, The Ridiculous Six was viewed more times than any other movie in the history of the platform up to that point.
That is mind-blowing. The critics said, don't watch this, and the entire world said, hold my beer, we are watching it immediately.
It proved to Netflix, and to the whole industry, that Sandler is completely critic-proof. His fans do not read reviews. They are loyal to the brand, not to the Rotten Tomatoes score.
So Netflix doubled down?
Oh, they went all in. They realized they had a captive audience. They renewed the deal in 2020 for 4 more movies.
And the money involved here is just staggering.
The 2020 deal was reportedly worth up to $275 million.
$275 million for 4 movies. That is guaranteed cash.
That is the key shift. In the old theatrical model, you often get paid based on how well the movie does back-end points.
Right. If it's a hit, you get rich. If it's a bomb, you don't.
With Netflix, he gets paid up front. It completely removes the risk. It made him the highest-paid actor in Hollywood in 2023, earning $73 million in a single year.
So he shifted the entire industry model from high-risk box office to high-reward subscription retention for a streaming service.
He essentially became his own studio system inside of Netflix. And he's using it to do everything. Murder Mystery with Jennifer Aniston was a massive global hit. Hubie Halloween was a huge hit.
And he also used the Netflix deal to make Hustle.
Exactly. A serious sports drama that got him a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination. So he gets to make his broad comedies and his prestige dramas all under the same roof with no financial risk. It's an unbelievable setup.
He's having his cake and eating it too.
He bought the whole bakery.
Let's talk about the man behind the brand. Because for a guy worth nearly $500 million, he sure doesn't dress like it.
The scumbro aesthetic, or as some call it, the grocery run look.
It is iconic at this point. The XXXL t-shirts from like a random charity 5K he did in 1998.
The basketball shorts that go down to his shins, the Ugg boots, the weirdly high socks.
It's funny because for years the tabloids mocked him. Look at Adam Sandler. He looks like he lost his luggage. But something shifted.
Something shifted. In 2021, Vogue magazine, the Bible of high fashion, named him a style icon.
We have truly entered the twilight zone when Adam Sandler is a Vogue icon.
But it makes sense in the context of Gen Z. There is this trend called normcore. It's about rejecting the polished, curated, perfect look of Instagram influencers.
And Sandler is the king of uncurated.
He represents comfort. He represents authenticity. His clothes say, I am so rich and so comfortable with myself that I do not need to impress you.
It's a power move.
It really is. He told Esquire in an interview that he was working that angle for years. He joked for a while as like, please accept me in the way I dress. And 30 years later, they finally came around.
He outlasted fashion itself.
He did. There are now brands, like one called Old Jewish Men, that literally sell shorts inspired by his look.
That's incredible. And it ties into his other obsession, basketball.
He's a legitimate hoophead.
The stories are legendary. He's on tour for stand-up or filming a movie in some random town, and he just shows up at a local YMCA or a park looking for a pickup game.
And he plays in the outfit. He plays in the baggy shorts and the oversized polo shirt. There are hundreds of videos online of him just draining threes in a random gym.
Is he actually any good? Or do people just, let him win because he's Adam Sandler?
No, the scouting report is solid. He's a playmaker. He's known for creative, no-look passing. He's not going to dunk on you, but he understands the geometry of the game.
He plays hard, too.
Oh, yeah. He has broken his ankle. He's had shoulder surgery from basketball injuries. This is not a casual hobby.
I love that image. You go to the gym to get a run-in, and Adam Sandler throws you a no-look pass. It's so un-Hollywood.
It grounds him. It keeps him connected to that regular guy persona. If he was playing polo or yachting, the brand wouldn't work. But pick up basketball? That's accessible. That's relatable.
Speaking of grounding, his family seems to be the absolute center of his universe.
Absolutely. He has been married to Jackie Titone since 2003. She converted to Judaism when they married. They have 2 daughters, Sadie and Sunny.
And if you've watched his recent movies, you know them very well.
They are the stars now. His recent Netflix movie, You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, was basically a Sandler home movie with a Netflix budget. His daughters played the leads. His wife was in it. He played the supporting dad role.
And of course, the critics screamed, nepotism, baby.
They did. But again, Does Sandler care? His brand is loyalty. His brand is family. Why wouldn't he put his kids in the movie? It fits the ethos of Happy Madison perfectly. He's not just employing his friends anymore, he's employing his whole family.
Even his nephew, Jared, gets roles.
Everyone gets a part. It's the family business.
One thing he keeps strictly out of the movies, and really out of his public life, is politics.
This is a very deliberate and, I think, very smart choice from a business perspective.
He's pretty private about it.
Very. But the public records show he is a registered Republican, which is somewhat rare in the Hollywood ecosystem. He performed at the Republican National Convention in 2004 and donated to Rudy Giuliani's presidential campaign in 2008.
But you never hear him on a soapbox. He's not on Twitter arguing with people.
Never. In an era where every celebrity feels the need to weigh in on every single issue, Sandler is a ghost. He doesn't preach. He doesn't alienate.
He knows who his audience is.
He knows his audience is broad. He has fans in red states and blue states. He stays in his lane. Comedy, family, sports. It protects the brand.
Before we wrap up, I feel like we have to mention the audio career. Because before the movies, there were the albums.
The albums were the proof of concept. They were huge. They're all going to laugh at you in 1993. And what the hell happened to me in 1996?
Both went 2x platinum. I mean, they were selling millions of copies.
I wore those tapes out. The Goat, Toll Booth Willie, The Longest Pee.
They were a mix of sketches and his songs.
And they showed that his comedy could sustain a long format. It wasn't just a 4-minute bit on Weekend Update. He could build a world with sound and characters that you could listen to for an hour.
Without the success of those albums, I'm not sure he gets the green light for Billy Madison.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
They laid the groundwork for everything that came after.
So let's bring it all home. We've looked at the Tisch training, the SNL firing, the box office records, the art house acclaim, and the Netflix empire. What is the legacy of Adam Sandler?
I think the Mark Twain Prize in 2023 was the capstone. It was the establishment finally admitting defeat.
Admitting defeat?
Yeah, admitting, okay, you won. For decades, the critical establishment dismissed him, mocked him, but he outlasted them. He built something so big and so successful that they had no choice but to acknowledge his impact on American humor.
He beat the system by creating his own system.
He hacked it. Most people in Hollywood have to compromise. They do movies they hate to pay the bills, or they beg for funding for their passion projects. Sandler constructed a reality where he does exactly what he wants all the time.
He split his career into 2 distinct streams.
Exactly. He has the vacation movies he makes with his friends for Netflix. That's the commerce. That generates the wealth and keeps the lights on for his entire crew.
And then, because he has that security, he can go off and do uncut gems or hustle the prestige films to satisfy his artistic soul and remind everyone he can really, truly act.
And here's the key. He funds his art with his commerce, but he actually enjoys the commerce too.
That's the part people miss. He's not miserable making grown-ups. He's having a blast with his buddies on a paid vacation. It is the ultimate creative hack.
He's never had to choose. He gets to do both.
So here is the final provocative thought for you, the listener. Sandler has effectively created the perfect work-life balance in the most ruthless industry on earth. He makes work movies that are actually just hanging out with his family and friends, and he uses that to fund his passion projects every few years.
So the question is this the ultimate hack for a creative life? Funding your art with your commerce, all while remaining the same guy who plays pickup basketball in XXL shorts.
Maybe tonight, go rewatch Punch Drunk Love and look for that technical precision we talked about. Look for the method acting underneath the blue suit. Or, just blast the Chinooka song and remember how he changed the culture with a guitar and a rhyme.
There is a lot more going on under that baseball cap than people give him credit for.
Thanks for diving deep with us on The Sandman. We'll see you on the next one.